after more than 2 years since the beginning of the COVID pandemic. I hope you are all well, healthy, and safe. First of all, I would like to say that it's a great joy for me to be here today to chat with you and share some results and learnings that we had with the implementation of Berta, our virtual assistant. My name is Gabriel Rosu, and I'm the Customer Service and Customer Success Coordinator here at BizCapital. Speaking briefly about Biz, as we affectionately call our company, we are a Brazilian fintech founded in 2016, formed by entrepreneurs who know from experience how complex it can be to open and develop a business in Brazil. That's why Biz was born, with the aim of giving Brazilian entrepreneurs access to resources to prosper and positively impact as many lives as possible. Today, we work with two main products, BizCred, our corporate credit, and BizConta, our digital account. All of our processes are online, and customers can follow every step of their journey with us, both through the internet and through our app. And what is our audience? Small and mid-sized companies. There are already more than 8.5 SMEs in Brazil, which are responsible for 76 of formal jobs in the private sector just in the first 4 months of 2022. In addition, small and mid-sized enterprises are responsible for 30% of the gross domestic product. This number jumps to 53% if we look at the gross domestic product of the goods sector, and 37% if we look at the services sector. Well, now that you know who Biz is and how the market where we have been operating for 6 years is like, I want you guys to settle in your chair because on the next slides, we will take off for a quick trip back in time, okay? We are now on the 21st of December, 2019 in Switzerland. The first warning from the Chinese government about the emergence of a new coronavirus, technical name COVID-19, reaches the World Health Organization. The statement highlighted a series of cases of pneumonia of unknown origin in Wuhan, a Chinese city of 11 million people. Sunday, February 2, 2020, we are now in Wuhan, China, with more than 2,000 deaths recorded and 74,000 confirmed cases. The Chinese government completes the construction of a temporary hospital to house patients infected by the COVID-19. The medical center, which was built in 10 days, a record time, has 10,000 beds and will have 1,400 health workers on their staff. Wednesday, February 26, 2020, we are now in Brasília, Brazil, and the Ministry of Health confirms the first case of coronavirus in the country. A 61-year-old man from São Paulo was working in Italy between the 9th and the 21st of February. This period coincides with the explosion of cases in the European country, where more than 220 infections have already been recorded. In addition to him, another 20 cases are under investigation. Whew, that was an intense trip, right? So time to go back, and now let's take a look at the impact of the pandemic on small and mid-sized business in Brazil in March 2020, okay? Right after the explosion of the number of COVID-19 cases in the world. This data I'm sharing now is from a study conducted by Fundação Getúlio Vargas. And regarding the financial health of small and medium-sized enterprises in times of pandemic, 10 million companies temporarily stopped working, and 4.2 million companies are in bad financial shape. 89.2% of respondents state that their monthly billing has decreased. 63% had a reduction of more than 50%. Considering the circulation restrictions imposed, More than 40% of respondents stated that they would need to temporarily close their doors if the crisis continues for more than 3 months. More than 35% believe they can keep their business open without closing the doors for good for a maximum of 1 month. More than 29% believe that they will not be able to last more than 3 months. Looking now at the costs that weigh the most in the day-to-day of SMEs, rent, raw material, and personnel costs were the most mentioned by interviewers, all with more than 40% of responses. Due to the pandemic, these costs increased. Yes, incredible, right? Reaching 7.6% in rent costs, 28.8% in raw materials costs, and more than 18% in personnel costs. Finally, 54% of respondents said that they would need to take out a loan to keep their business running without causing layoffs. Still, 31.4% still did not know how to respond, which means that they also need to maybe take out a loan. And that's where and when our stories intersect. In July 2020, Sebrae São Paulo, which is a non-profit organization that supports small entrepreneurs, launched the Crédito Retomada program, offering a line of credit with very, very special conditions to help entrepreneurs get through the moment of crisis. Our company, Biz, entered as a partner in this program, and we were by the time responsible for the credit analysis and customer support. This partnership resulted in an increase of more than 335% in the volume of calls made through our written service channels, WhatsApp, chat, Facebook Messenger, and email. Guys, offer a super digital and super human service has always been very important for us. So our entire relationship with our customers has always been done from entrepreneur to entrepreneur, without chatbots or automatic messages. But without the sudden increase, with the sudden increase in the volume of calls, we decided it was time to give life to our first virtual assistant, Berta. A virtual assistant with personality and luckily no team. Our biggest challenge in this project, of course, was to give Berta the human tone of voice that we have always sought to have in our relationships with customers who came to us searching for support. The implementation of Berta can be presented basically in 4 phases, and the first phase started on September 1st and lasted 2 days. In this phase, we used the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. For those who don't know, this principle says that basically 80% of the effects derive from 20% of the causes. This analysis allowed us to identify that approximately 80% of the services provided by our customer relationship team were motivated by 20% of all matters we handle with our customers. Knowing this, we just structured our first beta intents and responses using the Watson Assistant technology from IBM, our partners. Still in phase 1, we tried to reply to some customers' messages using only the answers we had taught to them. The idea was basically to test customers' understanding and acceptance of these responses. The second phase started on September 4th and lasted 7 days. In this phase, we connected Berta with Slack, the system we use to communicate between teams, and our intention here was for all the company's employees to interact with it, asking questions that they often heard from customers. In addition to mapping new questions and improving answers, this phase was important for us to make an important decision: Berta's name, which is to be with TH, like Berta Banks, my inspiration to the name of our virtual assistant, but that's a story for another day, started to be written only with T, facilitating communication with our audience. Also, unfortunately, when most people think about AI, they tend to think about extreme cases, that AI is here to replace them or overtake their intelligence and make all of us unnecessary. So this second phase was very, very important for us to create a connection between our virtual assistant and our employees, showing that Berta was coming to support the human work and not to replace it. I strongly believe that the secret to a successful digital transformation process lies in paying attention to all the components involved in this process, including the human component. Keeping in mind the transforming force present in empathy in human relationships. More than a technological challenge, implementing Berta was a work of people and a work with people. The third phase took place on September 21st and lasted about 2 hours. Yes, that was a very quick phase. We knew that at the end of the day, the volume of calls was lower and consequently, the chances of Berta doing something stupid were lower. So what we did then was to turn Berta on to serve customers who came in through our website chat to test the message flow that we had built. At this stage, she made her first 4 calls with a total of 0 customers complaining. Yay! The fourth and final phase started on the 23rd of September, and this phase that marks Berta's go live. For 4 days, she attended from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., always with close monitoring of a human to intervene if necessary. Some nice data from this phase are: on her first day of service, Berta alone handled 41% of all calls that joined the customer relationship team. On its third day, Berta completed 100 consultations and was already responsible for 53% of the consultations in the area. Looking at the results of these first 4 days of work, on the 5th day, we decided to let Berta start working outside business hours, leaving her answering customers' calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If any call outside business hours required human support, the customer will be informed that a member of the customer relationship team would soon help him. A nice piece of information to share about this change is that just in the first week of implementation, we were able to, with Berta's support, help 521 customers outside business hours and 335 customers on weekends. Since then, a lot of talk has taken place. Looking at this graph, we can observe the evolution of the percentage of services performed by Berta without the need of human support, having already reached 95.8% in February 2021. Noting that the numbers were growing, we decided to add a question at the end of every call asking if the customer's request had been answered. In this graph, we can see the evolution of the volume of requests answered, having already reached 96.61% in May 2021. Despite being a very positive number, this metric is a challenge for us. So we have noticed that the customers tend to answer this question of, has your request been fulfilled, much more when it's asked after a human service than when it's asked after a Berta service. Looking at the calls made by humans, we have an average of 30% of customers answering the question, while in automated calls, the average is 16%. We also noticed that many customers failed to rate the service because we were asking it to them a long time after the call with Berta had actually ended. So in this sense, we made 2 improvements. First, after identifying a thank you from the customer, we started to ask if he needed support with anything else or if we could end the call, leaving the conversation very tied up. Second, we reduced the time to automatically end the conversation with the customer if he stopped sending us messages. This time was initially set to 10 minutes, and after testing, we reached the number of 3 minutes. In other words, if the customer does not interact with Berta for 3 minutes, the call is considered finished, and which we can get a response and note for the service of the customers who had their request answered and did not say anything else. To illustrate, this data started at 7% in November 2020 and is currently at 29.38%. At the end of all the calls, we also ask the customer to evaluate the performance of the person who assisted him, giving a score from 0 to 5. In this graph, we can observe that Berta's score has been following the human's score, including there are some months in which she had a higher average than the overall average of our customer relationship. Still, in terms of comparing Berta's performance versus the team's performance, Berta's average call time is 47 seconds, against 10 minutes for humans. Of course, here, a point that greatly influences the difference is the fact that, as it's a chatbot, as soon as it receives a response from the customer, Berta already sends a response in the same second, preventing the customer from losing contact with the conversation. While the human attendant has a reaction time and, of course, many times needs to consult specific information in our channels and internal systems, allowing the customer to disconnect from the conversation for a few moments and do something else while waiting for a response, returning to the conversation only a few minutes after, even having received a response from a human attendant. A nice update we made was the possibility for our customers to be able to request a BizCredit or corporate credit directly with Berta while they are being served on our text channels. Completing 1 year of implementation, more than 10,000 requests have been made and more than 34 million reais have been sent in pre-approved offers. Another nice update we made was to connect Berta and our systems with an API, so she could respond to customers' requests while they were still in the conversation in which it was made, being able to send to them the link to proceed with the onboarding. This update definitely will allow us to further reduce our record of receiving a loan request, approving it, and disbursing the money, which currently stands at 1 hour and 6 minutes. Talking briefly about Berta's presence at Biz, there are already 4 areas using or that use Berta's support in guided conversations. The customer relationship area, where Berta was born almost 2 years ago, and currently serves BizCredit customers, our corporate credit, and BizConta customers, our digital account. The inside sales area, where Berta works without the support of any sales consultant, answering to 100% of the customers of Estímulo 2020, a non-profit movement similar to the Crédito Retomada from Sebrae, which Biz also joined as a partner responsible for credit analysis. Since its implementation, more than 1,500 customers were served, totaling more than 60 million reais in disbursements. The collection area, where Berta has been supporting the team in contacting customers in debt, and the partnerships team, where she used to support our partners with commission payments, and etc. Finally, better than talking, I believe it's showing, right? So I brought to share with you guys the testimony of Eli, one of our clients from the northeast of Brazil, who requested a BizCredit and had his doubts answered by Berta. In the end of the process, he received the loan he was looking for to support his company at the moment of crisis due to the pandemic. Like Eli, more than 200,000 Brazilian entrepreneurs in search of financial solutions have already been assisted by Berta. Every 1.5 minutes, this is the data I love, every 1.5 minutes a customer is attended by our virtual assistant. That means that while playing, since we are the champions, 2 customers receive Berta support, and there's still around 30 seconds left for Berta to learn some new words. So I think I can start dreaming that maybe one day she will also become world renowned, just like queens, right? Well, guys, to finish my speech, I brought this phrase from Stephen Hawking to share with you. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. In an increasingly globalized and demanding world where changes are constant and competition is increasingly intense, it's essential that people and it's essential that companies are able to innovate to differentiate themselves, adapting to changes that arise along the way, and always delivering more and more efficiently. Guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed our chat as much as I did, and that our experiences